Hello my loves, welcome back to Zeke's Lunchbox. Today we're going to do a Q&A. I've never done one of those. I've only answered like questions here and there when people message me. Yeah, I felt like doing a Q&A is a good opportunity to get you guys on the same page of like what my creative journey is, but also helping you guys with like some tips that I have, just creating that community, you know? I really want Zeke's Lunchbox to be a place where we're all learning together and growing together as a creative family. So yeah, I thought a Q&A was pretty overdue. Before we head into the Q&A, I just want to let you guys know that I have some new originals on my online store. So lots of things that I've done time lapses of. I rarely upload my original stuff, mostly because it feels very scary to upload it there. I won't have them on the online store forever, so if it's something that you guys are interested in, let me know. I also do payment plans as well, just because I know lots of people really want to buy my stuff, but it's just a little bit out of budget, so I'm always really flexible, so email me if you guys want to snag an original or commission me for anything. I also have new stickers on my online store, so I've got like 1 mega pack of little mini stickers, or you could buy them all individually as well. I didn't order too many of those, so they're gonna run out pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, with all that being said, let's head into the Q&A with Zeke. So I asked you guys in the comments of YouTube and also on Instagram what you guys wanted to know. So I'll try and get through as many as I can without making the video like an hour. So Ailey Banks asked, oh, by the way, Ailey is a YouTuber as well, and she's also an artist. We're all in the same art crew. Go over to Instagram to find her because her work is awesome. She's also been featured on Teen Vogue, just by the way, so you know, she's pretty hot. Ailey asks, when did you realize art was going to be your job and not your hobby? This is a difficult one. Let's just backtrack to 2006. I started using Zeke's Lunchbox when I was 16. I always knew that I wanted to have some kind of creative brand, whether that was, you know, in fashion or art. I was still trying to feel my way with all of that, so I've always wanted it to be like pretty official since then. It's kind of been teetering here and there for years. I wouldn't recommend doing that because I feel like so many people have watched such a long journey of my creative process, and Zeke's Lunchbox is going through so many different like iterations. After university, that's when it was like really serious. I really wanted to just give it my all, so I worked my casual job, and then now I've gone full-time just this year. So my final answer is 16. I would say I had such an incredible ego at that age where I was like, I'm gonna make it, and then the older you get smashed down. So I knew I wanted to do this officially at 16, but then it really became official at 24. Space Girl Eve asked, any advice for someone who's lost motivation artistically / creatively but wants to gain it back? For me, I know when I'm feeling really burnt out, I get really stressed because I rely on it financially. So I feel like I don't have time to not feel creative or inspired. You've got to ask yourself, are you being lazy or are you really burnt out? I know like I'm still trying to figure out a good balance between those two. But my biggest advice would be to constantly try and remember like what triggered your inspiration the first couple of times, you know? I don't try to rely heavily on being inspired. I know what works for me is going on a social media diet. I feel like social media makes me really sad sometimes. It's like two extremes, really. I want to make a whole other video about my relationship with social media. I would say ease into it. I like to listen to some music and just like doodle, or even like just draw on the couch and watch a movie. That way you're making a habit of being creative without like really like sitting down at your desk and feeling really pressured to like, all right, this is now we make things now. Try and focus on just taking care of yourself on a creative level, but also on a physical level. Like, are you sleeping right? Are you eating right? What's happening in your life? When I'm feeling really uninspired, I like to hunt down really cool, interesting movies. I read about makers that really inspire me. So like H.R. Giger and like the process he went through. I try to look at artists like Mobius. I really like artists whose work has then transformed into cinema. Cinema and films really inspire me, and all of that world building really inspires me. Another tip I have trying to get your inspiration inspiration back is to write a lot. I write down what inspires me. When I'm feeling uninspired, it's because I'm not taking care of myself mentally, physically, spiritually. You know, I'm still trying to find that balance of trying to take care of it all, especially when I rely on it so heavily. Another tip I've got is to experiment with a different medium. Are you sick of drawing? Are you sick of photography? Try something else. I think the quickest solution, you don't need any tools, is to, why not just dance? Try and experiment with that. You may feel silly, but look, you've like shaken it up. You've been loose and you've been creative and you didn't need to try. You just had fun. Think about just having fun with your medium. I used to play guitar and I was so frustrated that I wasn't making something that was perfect. I stopped playing because I was like, I'm never gonna be perfect, so I'm just gonna give up. I'm gonna get a guitar again because now I know it's all about just having fun with your medium. Don't try and be amazing and perfect straight away. Just have fun. Being able to shake it up with a new medium really helps you reconnect with why you enjoyed being creative in the first place. I started making YouTube videos because it was a whole new medium to play with, a new skill to learn. I love cinema, so I wanted to learn what all of that was about. I went to design school because I wanted to play with lots of different tools and mediums. I learned how to sew and make clothes. I learned how to use Photoshop. Just remember to be playful, and bottom line is take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and remember to have fun with your medium and experiment. Jenny Granberry asked, if the world ran out of pink, which color would you use? Love your videos. Thank you so much. Oh my god, I'm going through such a pink phase. I feel like I've been going through pink for, a while now. I'd probably use the next best thing, which is like a light pastel lavender, just because it's like basically the same on a tonal level. If you put them on black and white, they're pretty much the same colors tonally, so yeah, that's probably the color I go for. Antonia808 asks, if you have a limited budget but want to dive in some higher quality supplies, what would you spend it on first and last? I'm just gonna start off with like drawing and watercolor and gouache materials. I would say really good quality paper is your friend. If you get good quality paper and not so expensive like watercolor or pencil gouache, the paper kind of does the work for you. So the sketchbook I'm using now is when the colors dry, it looks so nice. It looks primo. So yeah, I would say paper is first. I would say last would probably be really good brushes, because I don't even use good brushes, to be honest. I use like big packs of brushes because I kind of trash them pretty quickly. So yeah, first paper and then last would be brushes, but in between that, get some good paint as well. Don't be too focused on trying to use the very best of the best. It really does make a difference, but everybody has to start somewhere. Don't feel like you need to have the best stuff to make really good work, because really what is going to transcend all of that is how good your skills are. Using higher grade art supplies just makes the process a bit faster, to be quite frank. Okay, so Ayla B, who's been a regular on social, so hey girl, is asking, how do you get ideas for your creatures? And how did I come up with the whole ZEKE's world? With the creatures that I draw, and if this is your first time, here are some examples of some cute creatures that I make. I think I started painting creatures because the feelings that I got with looking at cute animals was so pure, and that kind of joy I wanted to transcend into my work. You know, when I was younger, I was all about making really confronting, edgy work, but now I really just want to bring like some happiness to people's worlds, because life is awful. I mean, all this color is a distraction. I just want to make people happy. The pure feelings that you get and the honesty that you get from looking at cool, cute creatures is something I wanted to do. So whenever I come across and I'm researching animals, I'm usually looking at lots of different animals, and just like, I try and be as honest with like my feelings as possible. So if I'm seeing a really cute capybara, and like, you know how they're really log-like, I'm just trying to make a mental note of like what makes me really happy. When I'm making my creatures, I kind of bring lots of those kind of elements together. If I can give one solid advice to anybody making work, is to make honest work. Make work that makes you really happy, that you're really proud of. Don't make it for anybody else, because whatever makes you really happy with your personal work is going to make other people happy. And the second part of this is, how did I come up with the whole ZEKE world? Again, if you don't know my work, I'm very much about world building, and I like to tell stories with my works, but not make it so obvious. And that kind of just came naturally, because when I was working on my first solo show back in 2014, the scenarios that I was coming up with were very varied, but they all felt like they lived in the same universe. And then I took a step back, saw the commonality between everything, and then I've just been going on from there. And I feel like creating worlds is something that's going to take me a lifetime to create, but that's pretty exciting to me. So I'll probably be doing that for the rest of my life. Yasmin Casino, I have a very difficult time drawing/painting faces. How do you do it? P.S. I love your videos and aesthetic. Thank you so much. I mean, what I'm gonna say is not gonna be satisfying to a lot of people, because we live in an age where people want instant results straight away, and being creative just doesn't work like that. And I'm just gonna say you gotta practice, but also research. I think I mentioned this in my last video. Somebody who's really helped me with my work is Proco on YouTube. He really breaks down how to draw a face, every single element. He really is very, very traditional. After years and years of trying to fight traditional ways of how to paint and how to draw, once I have discovered it in my own time, it's made such a big difference. Really, you just gotta learn your anatomy. There's no other way. That's really my biggest tip. You just gotta learn anatomy, keep going through it, keep like re-watching and re-drawing skulls. You know, you gotta draw your skulls, your muscles, you gotta learn about how each individual part of the body works, because when you have functionality behind how features on the face work, it's so much easier to memorize that. I would say learn your anatomy and you gotta practice. It's gonna take years to perfect. That's part of art, so yeah. Okay, so Umi asks, I was wondering if you ever get less motivated because of the numbers. If so, how do you deal with it? What makes you continue posting regularly online? So Umi is asking about like social media numbers and all of that, and this is a really difficult question for me to ask, for me to answer, because social media is fantastic. I rely on it really heavily. I have been discouraged in the past, over the last 5 years, of really doing art properly. I have been discouraged over the years when the numbers aren't growing, especially like I've been on Instagram for years and I'm still nowhere. I'm just getting close to getting 10,000 followers now. Okay, let's rewind this question, because first of all, you need to ask yourself, like, why do you even care about the numbers? For me, I care about the numbers because I want lots of people to see my work. The more people that see my work, the more I get clients, and so on and so forth. I don't do it because I want fame. I just want it to have a reliable career. That's why I get really down and out by the numbers. But at the same time, I've had more luck and happiness and gratification with YouTube. Ever since I started YouTube maybe about a year ago, it's just so much better. I just have a much better time on YouTube, and I feel like that's a little bit more satisfying, just because I don't care too much about the numbers. I care about the quality of people who follow me. I've had a really long and difficult and tumultuous relationship with social media, because I do feel like a slave to a lot of it, and I feel like there's so many pressures to do this and that with social media, and you got to keep your numbers high. It's all a numbers game. It's really soul crushing, but at the same time it's so silly, because over the years, even with my tiny Instagram following and now with my small YouTube following, I've been able to do so many more things than I ever thought I would, and I still have a very, very small following. I have 8,000 on Instagram and 4,000 on YouTube. Like, if you told me in 2000, the social media following I would have now, I'd be so proud of myself. And I think we get so bogged down with comparing ourselves with other people's followings and what other people have, accomplished, and because everybody is on social media, we're all feeling really competitive against one another, and I just feel like you need to stop comparing yourself to others and compare yourself to yourself. I never would have thought that social media would have enabled me to, you know, find people who like the weird things that I like. I think we just put a little bit too much weight on it, and you really don't need to. It doesn't define you as a creative person. I know people who are paying their mortgage with their art and they have 1,000 followers on Instagram. Like, it doesn't value the weight of how good your art is or the businesses that you work with. It allows you to do lots of great things, and having a lot of followers gets more views. You're just exposed to more companies or commissions, you know, and that's the reason why I think it's great to have the numbers there, but we put too much pressure on the numbers equating our value as a creative person. So the numbers still make me sad. I can't help it. That's just the game that you play, but I always remind myself and of all the accomplishments that I've had, all the clients I've worked with. Really doesn't equate your career whatsoever. For me, the saddest part is the number that really makes a difference is how many zeros I have in the bank. That's what I care about. It's sad. Having money just affords me to be able to do this and perfect my craft. So those are the numbers maybe you should be counting. Short answer is they used to get me down. They don't get me down now, because even with a really small following, comparatively small, it's just allowed me to do so much, so I can't complain. I've been able to actually go full time with art. It's a struggle, but it's still getting better and better. Don't get bogged down by the numbers, honestly. Just like, do you. Okay, so Heather McNeil Art asks, how do you go about getting art jobs, i.e. murals? First of all, if you want to get any creative jobs, you need to show the world what you're capable of. Don't jump into the deep end, you know, you just found your footing and like now you're so entitled. You're like, I want people to hire me for this thing. Look at this great thing that I made. Artists are very, very entitled. We do one great thing and we expect the world to fall at our feet. It's ridiculous. You need to assess what jobs you want to get and work your way towards that. And people like niches. My niche is weird, colorful creatures and girls. That's my niche. Work on your niche and make sure your niche is honest to you as well. Don't go with whatever the trend is. Do you, boo. So yeah, if you want to do murals, paint murals every single weekend, paint murals every week, paint murals every month, and don't expect people to pay you for your murals straight away. Even now, I've been doing art for years. You have to do free stuff or like get paid a lesser amount your whole career. By now you're probably like, ew, I don't want to do free work. Yeah, neither do I. I don't want to do free work all the time, but I pick and choose where my free work is going to go. These YouTube videos are free. I'm not paying myself to do them. The Bondi wall that I did earlier this year, I was selected to do that, but I wasn't paid. You have to be smart with where you're going to do your free work, and that really comes with time, with like it saying yes and no and experimenting and, you know, learning what works for you. But the bottom line is there is never going to be a perfect opportunity. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but there is never going to be a perfect opportunity. You're never going to get that perfect brief with the perfect amount of pay. Sometimes you need to sacrifice a little bit. If the opportunity isn't perfect and you don't really care for it, then ask for the money, obviously. But if it's something that you really are passionate about, say you're working with a charity or you're working with a brand you really like, take a little bit less because you're passionate about that. You know, you got to make it work. So really, to sum it up, if you want to paint murals, you need to show the world that you can paint murals. You should be looking and Googling, mural competitions. You should be making friends with other people who paint murals so you get good at that. You gotta put in the work and don't expect people to pay you straight away, because it's just not gonna happen straight away and you're gonna be really unsatisfied and disappointed. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was useful. I hope I wasn't too harsh, especially doing the free work and calling artists entitled, because we are. I feel like I'm being humbled every single day. Just when I think I feel good about myself, I feel really humble about like, ooh, you feel good? Let's take you down a little notch. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe if you please. And make sure you bell ding dong that button to be notified next week of any videos that I post. I post every single Sunday. I'd like to post a little bit more, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how I can do. In between all that, you can catch me on Facebook and Instagram, and make sure you head over to my online shop as well so I can continue making these videos. I'm molting like crazy. I got a new plant, by the way. All right, guys. Catch you later. Bye.